So going into the international break, I had 2 free transfers and I took a -4. So out is Wilson, who is injured, Alzate, who doesn't play anymore, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is injured and some might argue doesn't play anymore. So who's coming into the side? We've got Cancelo, who's been a fantastic fullback and could be nailed for Manchester City ahead of their up-and-coming nice fixture run. Brewster comes in as a bench player as I switch to a 3-5-2, so having a good 4.5 cheap playing forward is a good option there. And Bruno Fernandes of Manchester United, again, good run of fixtures, and he will take the captain's armband in game week 9 against West Brom at home. So 2 out of the 3 signings come into the side, and we're now switching to a 3-5-2. It's a formation that I did talk about on the last stream when I had a look at the top 10 players in the world right now in FPL, and 3-4-3 was the overwhelming formation used for every game week in the 8 prior to game week 9. And I'm going to be going 3-5-2 because we did have a lot of value in the forward positions for quite a long time with the likes of Wilson, Morpay for a while, Bamford still knocking around now. So there is still some good value in there, but I do feel as though there is better value now to have sort of 2 low but well-priced midfielders like I've had Barkley and Grealish for a while now, and then that gives you enough room to get 3 premium midfielders. Now you can see at the minute I still have Son, De Bruyne and Fernandes, but you can see it's still an elephant in the room. I do still have Robertson, and again I've just got to make the decision that if Robertson goes down, I've got no money in the bank, but if Robertson goes down by about 2 million for maybe a non-playing base player or like a Kilman at Wolves, then that lets me go from like a Son up to maybe a Sterling, or just I can play around with that kind of money to have sort of 3 premium midfielders, which might be the way to go. So Martinez will start against Brighton, a clean sheet, good performance, a really good performance against Arsenal. I've been triple Villa now for quite a while, and again I'm still not looking to move away from that. New man Cancelo comes in. I know it's not easy against Spurs, but the transfers were there. I wanted to make them now because I'm rearranging my defence. Usually defence is like the least position, not including goalkeeper. Goalkeeper I barely touch. Then my defence I don't touch that often because in the past it was just sort of Trent and Robbo, one or the other or both, plus one more. And I've had to get rid of Trent, of course, not just because of form, but because of that injury. And Cancelo looks great. I actually did say at Project Restart last season when he started to get more game time, I thought he looked one of the best Man City players. And I can't remember which game it was, but City dominated. I think they won like 5-0. It could have been maybe against Burnley at Project Restart. Last season, when I thought he was the best player on the pitch, he's still creating chances, and for 5.4 million, I think he's great value, and especially with the fixtures coming up for Man City. This is not necessarily a transfer for this week, but hopefully one for the future. Robertson is still in the start 11. I know he does have a knock, but apparently Steve Clark's come out and said he could be even fit to play in the Scotland game, but I could still face benching him. On my bench, I've got Taylor at home, Charlie Taylor of Burnley at home to Crystal Palace, and I've got Lamptey away to Aston Villa. Now, I don't particularly want to play Lamptey because Brighton usually concede at least 1 goal, but he's so attacking. But having those options, and of course Brewster, who does have a knock like most players in FPL right now, he's at home to West Ham. I've got a good bench. That was another reason why I wanted to make these transfers. So I know people might look at my defence and think, well, Robertson might be injured, but usually he's a nailed-on starter. James sometimes gets rotated out. Cancelo sometimes get rotated out. But on my bench, I've got your, nailed-on 4.5 million around-ish players in Charlie Taylor at Burnley and Lamptey at Brighton. So that's why, as well, that I wanted to take the risk with Cancelo. My Villa double midfield as well, Barkley and Grealish. I said it when they were losing at Southampton before they made a bit of a comeback, and I've said it since I brought Barkley and Grealish in. I'm still happy with this pair. They've still got great fixtures. I still think they're working well. Grealish, of course, his ownership has skyrocketed. Now he's finally getting into the England side, and it's been an incredible turnaround for a player that most of us, when he chose England over Ireland and we didn't think he was good enough, did he step up to the plate? Yeah, there was moments of brilliance maybe last season or when he was last in the Premier League with Aston Villa. But to say in like the last 6 to 12 months, the leaps and bounds he's made, he's looking genuinely good. And that's why I've watched all the Villa games this season, because he's been in my side for so long. And I said he is the real deal. He's been absolutely fantastic. So Grealish and Barkley both going nowhere. Barkley takes like all set pieces for Villa as well. Heung-min Son is still in the side. That's probably going to go, not just for his high ownership, but the fact that they have a really difficult run of fixtures. And if I can just put that down to like a Ziyech Maybe I'll get rid of Werner, or Werner goes up to Jamie Vardy, or Son down to Ziyech, then Fernandes, Bruno Fernandes up to someone else. That's a possibility as well. But Son is still a fantastic player. Him and Kane are still doing fantastically well. It's not like their stats have massively dropped off. But Sean Minson in the last few game weeks has not been particularly great. Kevin De Bruyne, got him in before the Sheffield United game. He's just there to stay. Man City's fixtures from game week 10 are absolutely sublime. So you would be hoping certainly that they can find their attacking killer instinct yet again. And Bruno Fernandes comes straight into the side and gets the captain's armband straight away. Now, I got Bruno Fernandes when he first came to the Premier League. I think it was a 0-0 draw against Wolves, and I had him. I thought, yeah, looks good. Had him since then, and he was great when I had him. Didn't start the season. First time I've owned him, and he's actually done quite well. I know Manchester United have been a little bit up and down so far this season, but points on the board, FPL-wise, Fernandes has been actually pretty good. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Timo Werner were still with these boys, had them all season. Whoever the third strike partner has been have changed, but Dominic Calvert-Lewin since game week 1, Timo Werner since game week 1, and finally it feels as though, even though I still get frustrated watching Timo Werner, at least now he's starting to get me some attacking returns after blank after blank after just terrible performances, but now he's getting quite a few goals under his belt, so I'm quite happy to keep him from now. And as I mentioned earlier, so I've got Forster as my backup goalkeeper, Charlie Taylor against Palace, who might come in for Robertson, because I just, no Salah, no Trent, no Van Dijk. I can't really see a clean sheet for one, definitely not. But then attacking returns, is Robertson going to be given a license to roam even more? He basically plays as a left winger, and if Milner plays at right back, they'll go down that left hand side. But again, with a defender, it doesn't matter how the potential is for attack, you gotta be having some hope for a clean sheet, and I'm just not seeing it. But Taylor at home to Crystal Palace, it sort of screams a 0-0, right? So I am tempted to maybe make that as my last change. But overall, I'm quite happy with the side going forward. It's only cost me -4. I think a lot of people were taking hits this week because of how many injuries or suspensions or COVID cases that there have been. I mean, even if they haven't taken -4, the likes of these people are going to be having Salah on the bench and having sort of a 4.5 million player come in, like a Basuma, for example. So I actually don't mind that too much. But yeah, I'm pretty happy going forward. Let's have a look at the fixtures and look at some key players and some, let's say, predictions for some of the results for this game week. So starting off with the fixture, Newcastle against Chelsea. The early kickoff now, a lot of superstitious people out there will be saying, don't back the early kickoff, don't put a captaincy option on there. But it's pretty hard to look past Chelsea at the minute. Like I said, I've watched pretty much every Premier League game so far, and Chelsea, it's difficult. As a whole team, they impress me. But there is rotation risk there with Chelsea. All across the board, to be honest. Could Werner get dropped? He did technically get dropped or rested against Burnley before Pulisic got an injury. But when they're all fit, which it seems like they're almost getting there now, you can't definitely have that nailed on. And having an 8 to 9.5 million rated player in midfield or in attack that might not play is a little bit off-putting. But is that a captaincy option? With the likes of, I don't know how many people are going to be jumping on Manchester United just yet. A lot will still have Spurs, a lot will still have City, and a lot will still have Liverpool. Liverpool against Leicester, is that going to be a captaincy option? I'm not too sure. If anything, the captaincy option, in my opinion, in that game would probably be Jamie Vardy. But let's still go in order. So Chelsea could even have captaincy contenders in there. If you want to risk maybe a Ziyech, fine. Timo Werner is in decent form as well. But overall, I can't look past Chelsea. The reason why I'm so impressed is every time they don't have the ball, the pressure and the speed that they're playing at. Sometimes when I've watched Liverpool or Man City, teams that usually dominate possession, really ruthless in their attack or on a counter-attack, they just look so lethargic, so slow. Like I call it passenger football, just passing it around slowly. But Chelsea are playing 100 miles an hour all the time, so I can't look past Chelsea there. And I also can't look past Aston Villa against Brighton. Brighton have done decent football so far this season, but they do make silly mistakes. They do concede goals. And I know Aston Villa have been pretty difficult. That's some fantastic results this season by thumping Arsenal 3-0, thumping Liverpool 7-2, but then disappointing results against like the Southampton, and sort of getting overturned in those games. But I think Aston Villa Still looking good. Definitely would look at assets. Even people I've seen captaining Grealish. Again, I don't think that's crazy. You've got Liverpool-Leicester, which is a tough game, and you've got Spurs against Man City, which you don't really want to captain him on that either. So is Grealish a captaincy shout? Potentially, yes. I personally wouldn't go that risky, not necessarily just yet, but it is definitely an option because Brighton do concede, and Grealish is a talisman of Villa, so usually most of the time when they do get a goal, Grealish has something to do with that. Spurs against Man City, tough one to call here because Spurs, Son and Kane have been absolutely phenomenal. Points-wise, they're way above everybody else. But I don't want to take anything away from Tottenham Hotspur. They have been excellent most of the time. Now, the Manchester United result is a little bit of an anomaly, but they just get past West Brom. They did draw against Newcastle at home, albeit with the last kick of the game penalty, but a draw is a draw. They did lose the first game of the season against Everton. They've not had the most difficult fixtures. And obviously they let West Ham come back against them too. So yes, they have scored lots of points as Son and Kane, but again, as a team, I don't feel Spurs have been really tested, and Man City is in that so I want to say that gestation period where they're a caterpillar right now. We know they can be a big, beautiful butterfly. We know how wonderful Man City can be, but so far this season they're still in that cocoon. I can just feel against against Tottenham Hotspur, that's when they're going to emerge. It's not going to be this week, it's going to be soon. I would definitely be jumping on Man City assets right now, especially with the craziness that's going on with Liverpool at the minute. You might even want to take the Pep roulette wheel there and get on someone like Sterling or Kevin De Bruyne. United West Brom, again, another team that's just been so up and down this season, and West Brom have improved. Fair play to them, but for me, Bruno Fernandes or Rashford if he's fully fit, or even Martial could be good captaincy options here. They're at home, they're against West Brom, the teams around them are playing very difficult opposition, so again I'm looking at Manchester United win here, and Bruno hopefully is going to come good for me because I have had another terrible year of captaincy choices, and I'm picking like Son and Kevin De Bruyne, and 1 week I had Sergio Aguero gets me 1 point total, and it's 2 points total from my captaincy. I'm just having an awful season in general, and 4.5 million overall ranked. And captaincy, I've mentioned this in a post on Twitter, captaincy has been so integral to how poor this has been. Fulham against Everton, I know most are well over like half of the game on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I can't blame them. How can you blame them? He's absolutely nailed on. His job now is to just sit inside their opposition penalty area and be the new Filippo Inzaghi, which is perfect, which is what you want from your cheap forward if you've been on him for a long time. They've got key players back from suspension and injury. I know James Rodriguez was out injured, but he looked a little bit slow off the boil in the last game, but it's Fulham. You've got to be back in Everton here. I'm not looking at any Fulham assets whatsoever. Sheffield United, West Ham. You've got Sheffield United who can't buy a goal, and West Ham who have had a fantastic start to the season. So if Antonio is back fit, it might be a little bit too early for him. I know he's had the international break, but he needs to sort of get back up to match speed. But definitely people who have jumped on the likes of Cresswell and Kufal and Matsuaku, I would probably, or even Fabianski, if you've gone for the goalkeeper. I do feel as though at the bare minimum you could be getting a clean sheet here from Sheffield United because they have struggled. And if Bruce has got a knock and might not even play, and you've got McBurney or McGoldrick playing up front, or Burke, you could be pretty confident going into this weekend if you've got some West Ham assets. Leeds against Arsenal, I don't know, because Leeds, we just don't know what we're going to get with them. Are they going to get a team that thump someone 3-0, or are they going to get thumped 3-0, or is it going to be a 5-5 thriller, or is it going to be a 0-0 boring draw? It's just really difficult to pinpoint Leeds right now. And Arsenal's similar. Arsenal have had some very good performances, but even in the last game, soundly beaten by Aston Villa. Again, Bamford is on a lot of people's radars and in a lot of people's teams, and I understand that. For his price, he is fantastic value. I don't rate him as highly. I think he's overperforming. I could be wrong. If I am, well, I'm 4.5 million overall ranking. That's probably why. But again, I wouldn't be itching to get them in. Leeds concede goals, so I know a lot of people go for Eiling and Dallas. I think there are better 4.5 million to 5 million defender options out there. Arsenal, again, no one's interested. People bring in Tierney or Bellerin because they had few goals conceded, but they do concede a goal basically every game. Not for me. Liverpool against Leicester. Again, I've already said this earlier. I think the best captaincy option in this entire fixture is Jamie Vardy. Are they going to play Matip, Fabinho, Milner, and Robertson at the back? I think that's something that Leicester could take advantage of. They've been doing all right. They've won a lot of penalties. It doesn't matter how you win games, but that's how they're doing it. And yeah, Liverpool, and no Salah, of course, as well, which, for the people who took the punt on Diogo Jota, it could be their lucky day. For basically getting a starting Liverpool attacker for about 6.5 million is a fantastic bargain. Might only be 1 week where Salah is out, but it is obviously detrimental to the Liverpool side to have essentially 3 of their best players, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mohamed Salah, and Virgil van Dijk, out. That is not easy, especially against Leicester, who still will have top 4 aspirations this season. Burnley Crystal Palace, I said this earlier as well, it's 0-0 written all over it. Burnley, someone to Sheffield United, can't buy a goal. Crystal Palace, they usually have about 25-30% possession. I think, what was it, the other week, the one shot on target they had all game was Zaha's penalty. That was a goal. You know, I've said it before, I'm really sorry, Crystal Palace fans. It's great that you stick in the Premier League. It's great how strong you are defensively, but it's painful to watch. I mean, if there is one game I really don't want to watch this game week, it's Burnley Crystal Palace. I know now I've said that it's probably going to be like a 4-4 thriller, but nevertheless, if there's one game I'm not interested in this game week, it's Burnley Crystal Palace. And Wolves against Southampton. Wolves, attacking-wise, not looking great since the changes have made. They are slightly trying to change the style. Southampton had Danny Ings. We thought they'd suffer, but Shea Adams is stepping up to the plate so far. But again, I wouldn't be looking to invest in Southampton or Wolves at the minute. I think there are a lot better options for better prices. I know Vestergaard's been going up. I know he's near the top of the defender table, but it's not one for me. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know how your teams are shaping up for Game Week 9. Remember that you can join me with a live stream on Friday from 12 o'clock lunchtime UK time. Hopefully I'll see you all there. And as always, have a good one.